Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's time to find out if the Magus gets the poisoning. So, we've got a big pile of dice on both sides. I need 2 successes for every success that you get. If you win, Joy, then...
I managed to nick the Magus with some poison.
You inflict the poison, and he has to deal with having the poisoning. If I win, he realizes that you were trying to poison, knocks the knife out of your hand, and then you can do whatever you want. You can run, you can...
Oh no, you said he, like, incapacitates.
Yeah, I want to change it. I think that's pushing too far. I want to give you the opportunity to respond, but he's like,
all right.
Oh, poison, and like knocks it aside. He realizes that it's a dangerous thing to reach
knife
for.
is, if I fail, knife is out of play.
Yeah.
Like, can't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I'll go first, shall I?
I mean, we just can't, let's count it down.
All right.
Click submit.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
I got 5 successes with 1 6. Hold on, I've got a 6. Did you get any 6s? You got 1 too.
Okay, I got 1 as well.
Do you want to roll? So it's 5v3.
Well, let's see what yours looks like.
Ties go to the defender. So I gotta get this. I gotta get this 6. All right. So you don't have to spend fate on it to get him.
Whew.
All right. So
I succeed.
What does this? Yeah. What does this look like? Like you just.
So I think what this looks like is the Magus reaches over.
He reaches.
to me,
He's like, give me that.
And I look as if to hand it to him, but then it like slips out of the sheath and like cuts his hand basically. And I like fumble to get it back in there and go like, oh, I'm terribly sorry, you know, and like try and let him have it after that.
Okay. I mean, I think he realizes right away because he sees on the blade that there's he's an observational do. So he sees it. He reaches out. You cut his palm, and he looks at his hand, and you cut through the gloves, and he has this face like, oh, my gloves. Like, fuck, I like these gloves. And when you get poisoned, I think it's what a fort roll. How do you?
Fort.
Let's take a look at poison.
Well, poison.
It depends on what kind of.
Depends on the poison.
Yeah, I just mean poison generally. Let's take a quick look here.
It stands to reason it would be fort, but
I think so. Let's take a look.
I can check poisons, but I don't know where else to look.
And your intent was to.
So she was trying to concoct a deadly poison that was a contact poison. Right. A deadly poison assigns you a B10 wound, and on contact.
But also, it didn't concoct what I wanted.
Okay. All right.
So we don't know what it does.
Yeah.
The other options are debilitating poison that gives him +2 ob on everything, or a sickening poison that gives him +1 ob on everything.
Or
some other
anything you want to.
You're right, and it was made out of weird witch stuff.
It was, yes.
Is that really shitty crippling poison that you only ever put on your offhand in PvP?
Yeah.
It was weird witch stuff, and you didn't succeed on that roll.
Exactly.
So you don't even know what the weird witch stuff you made the poison out of.
I'm hoping that it's a deadly poison, but that's just what Joy hopes.
Agatha's whole jam is taking people who think they're in control and taking away their ability to be in control. It's especially dudes like this guy. And so he looks at his hand, and he's like, he looks at the wound, and he gives you the kind of looks up at you, and he says, "What have you done? What do you say?"
You should be dead.
And he blinks a couple of times, and you can see him like something is going on in his head, like he's distracted, and so you're just kind of like, oh, you should be. Do you like stay to watch? Do you want to? You can pick the knife up and stab him. The poison's taking its effect, but he's not. He's just like looking at his hands.
Please let it take away his magic. That would be the best.
This
poisoning?
Does your death wish now fade? Because you've done the thing that you wanted.
Yeah, you now no longer. You can get rid of the death wish trait.
Yes.
All of a sudden, your own life has value to you.
Yes. All of a sudden, my self-preservation comes flooding back.
Yeah.
And I'm standing there in front of him, and the knife's on the ground, presumably between us. I guess I moved slowly to pick it up.
Okay, well, so you're like you go to like reach for it. So he's been using magic to a bunch of shit is gonna happen, but he's been using magic to suppress his corruption traits. So let's roll them all at once.
Yes.
Basically what's happened is that he's got a bunch of magic that he spends a lot of like time and energy maintaining, and he's not losing his magic, but all of his pre-existing spells start to unravel.
It's like a dispelling poison.
Yeah, it's a dispelling poison. So this is going to go really badly, really quickly for you and potentially everyone else in the castle. He's got a bunch of shit going on, and now he's just dropped all the plates he's been spinning. Let's.
Alrighty then. What have I done?
Yes, exactly. Miro, you feel it.
I want to know what plates have been spinning.
You'll feel a great disturbance, all of you, very soon. So let's see. Corruption traits. So what do? You roll every time that you gain corruption?
It's your current rating, your rating that you're at, plus a d6.
So I got to roll for him. Whatever.
6 plus 1, d6 plus 2, d6 plus 3, d6 plus 4.
You only
D6
roll when you create your character.
Yeah. So
he would start at whatever. Like he didn't have to roll the 4 times from 1 to
So we'll
5.
roll 3 times. We'll start and we'll do 4, 5, and 6. And so it's
only 6.
Only 6. What a.
Where's the corruption? I want to know what this is.
He's been mitigating his corruption.
In the codex.
He's very careful. Unlike Miro, he accumulates corruption and then finds ways magically to bleed it away. This is just the first thing. Is his personal illusion changes.
So page 261 is the table that
I want to know what's gonna happen.
And I'll open his character sheet so I can add these traits.
And you're doing 4, 5, 6, Adam?
Yes.
Yeah, so he could have cilia, he could have fur, he could be tongueless. He could be a hermaphrodite. He could have tentacles.
Tentacles.
Right. So let's see. It's a d6 plus 4, d6 plus 5, and then a d6 plus 6, right?
And you have to, once you pick one side of the table, you have to alternate.
All right.
You have to pick the opposite side the next
4,
time, and then you
get
to reset.
He is fearless.
Okay.
Which is like clear and obvious, right? The dark gods taking away his fear. So now he has to roll on the other one.
So now he's on the left side, and then you get to pick again, and then...
All right, so this is 5. Okay.
10.
Aura of malevolence or aura of fear. I mean,
it has to be malevolence.
So he's fearless with aura of malevolence. Aura of malevolence isn't a good thing. It's like everyone knows you're evil.
Yes. So he's been suppressing that. So he's fearless, has an aura of malevolence, and then now I get to pick for the other one.
Yeah.
All right. So d6 plus 6.
Please get an 11. I just wanted to do an 11.
You don't pick. It will just be on the opposite side.
And an aura of fear. There you go.
That was...
He's fucking terrifying.
He's terrifying. And so you see him for a moment, all of a sudden, it's perfect. Yeah, like all of the social nicety, all of the like magic he's been using to seem like a human, basically, and not a vessel of the dark powers.
Turns out I stabbed a demon.
Peels away, and suddenly you are fully awash in his aura of fear and malevolence.
Okay, so
you have to make a steel test.
I was just gonna say I have to make a steel test right now.
The Dark Lord is among us.
Right.
You probably have to.
Those were perfect.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Adam's good at role-playing games.
Okay, so I gotta make a steel test. Here we go.
Hashtag scripted. So make a steel test.
Most of our corruption rolls have been pretty on point. On point.
Yeah.
There was the fur. There was me getting rat speak.
I mean, lame was kind of lame. What's the ob for this fear test? This steel test.
You just roll your steel.
It's against your hesitation, but there
could be situational modifiers.
Yeah. Okay, so let me.
Yeah, run screaming would be my choice for this one.
Well, stand and drool is like you can't get away. It's like oh god, you have to watch this happen. So let me find the steel section. And we'll see if because there'll be modifiers, right? So now this is an aura. You can't see it. It's just feelings. This like wash of like you are in the presence of evil.
Turns out I was right all along, team.
I mean, he's not technically any more evil than Miro. He just has this supernatural aura that lets everyone know as a punishment.
So aura of fear. His character emanates fear. People must pass a steel test. And then aura of malevolence is... This character is evil, and everyone knows it. Little children run away crying, dogs bark maniacally. This character and all of his cohorts within his presence gain +2 die to intimidate or interrogate.
Which really sucks when combined with broken for me.
So he puts his hand in your face and everything gets all weird and he's like, submit to me.
So Italian.
Oh God. Okay.
Turns out he's got an elf in his head.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you see through and now he's an elf.
That's the corruption.
That's the corruption. Yeah. Elves.
It's just
An elf wouldn't have gotten stabbed by that knife.
Yeah, somewhere he's getting nicked. All right. So here we go. Being directly affected by magic, seeing a ghost, seeing the living dead, seeing horrible magic at work, being in the presence of the supernatural. Like, I mean, this is like +5 ob, the sudden unveiling of this dark lord.
Oh, good.
You're just like, sure, he's a human, but he's a magic human.
11 then? Great.
Yeah. So you cut him and it peels away his magical protection. All right, you get a 1. So for 10 actions, you have to hesitate in some way. What do you do? What is your choice?
I mean, the sensible option seems like run screaming, but when has Joy ever been sensible? Let's be honest.
Well, no, she has self-preservation again.
That's true.
Just friendly reminder, you don't have a death wish anymore.
But it's that feeling flooding in, as well as this fear.
You're allowed to cower.
Coming in that, like, yeah, I think she would just like cower, like be terrified.
So, yeah, stand and drool, right?
Like
terror. Okay, yeah. So what happens? You cut his hand. He looks at his hand. It's like, what have you done? And he looks at you.
And there's that moment where I'm like, you should be dead. And then the next instant, I've like dropped to my knees. I'm going like, no, please. I made a mistake. I was under enchantment. Please.
I mean, I think standing and drooling, you can't even talk. Like you want to do that. You want to beg for mercy.
It's not standing and drooling. It's
beg for mercy. Okay, yeah. So you look up and you see him. You see him as you would see a saint portrayed in stained glass, right? Like everything around you. The castle is dark and hard to see, but he is illuminated by a great halo of fire behind him. A mighty wheel of flame, 5-spoked and crackling with infernal energy. His hands, he's bleeding from his hands, and the blood is like dripping onto the floor where flies coated in blood are climbing up out of the pile and sort of fluttering around him in a cloud. He's just like pouring this like dark energy out from him, and you sense an unhinging, a breaking of chains, of bonds being ruptured. And somewhere nearby, you feel something that he had been suppressing. I want to say like, it's not physically beneath the castle, but it's like lurking at a layer one step removed from reality. You feel it break free of the chains he had placed upon it. And whatever he was doing to keep this thing in control, it no longer. So meanwhile, he looks down at you, and you can't even see his face. You just see this like horrible fire. Meanwhile, in the castle, elsewhere in the room, we see the king, and the king has not gone back to bed. The king has gone to the queen, and he has fallen asleep next to her body. So he's like lying there, like unconscious, kind of on her. There's a like Renaissance painting moment of them being lit from moonlight from above, her lying on her bed, in repose.
Him asleep, like half off the bed, like he was like kneeling next to her, clutching her hand or something, and he's fallen asleep.
Yeah, and his cloak like fallen off one shoulder, her looking like the sort of the pale virgin. She sits up suddenly and starts screaming obscenities in a language we don't understand, but have heard before. So she starts screaming in Stygian. He does not wake. In the room where all of the dancing is occurring, Suddenly, all at once, the musicians lose their voices and their hands go numb. We hear the twang of musical instruments just tumble to the ground, and the musicians look at each other like. And when the lead musician goes to speak, he instead vomits like maggots onto himself and to the floor in front of him. So he just like opens his mouth in shock and goes to speak, and then just like a bunch of like wriggling worms pour out of his mouth. There's a scream in the audience. One of the courtly ladies who was pregnant immediately goes into labor, and like just like everyone in the room. Like glass breaks. There's a shrieking sound as the castle walls like bend and warp. Miro, what do you do? Like, it's clear that something horrific has just occurred. You feel it in your soul.
I make a steel test first, right?
Yeah, let's have everybody in the castle make a steel test.
Yeah. Jesus.
How do you want to bump that up? How much?
No, so none of you are witnessing. It's just the supernatural effects. So let's say +3 for everybody.
So just 3 or plus?
No, +3. Yeah, to your hesitation.
+3 to my hesitation.
Yeah, so when it adds it just adds 3. So your hesitation is the +3, and then.
Okay.
I'm the only one witnessing the divine hellish majesty of
4 seconds.
His great infernal majesty, Diptera.
That's my bad, team.
It's not even really him. Like, it's some horrific hellish power he bent to his will and has been like siphoning off of for magic.
Turns out he should have worn better.
So you got 4 successes. What's your hesitation, Dave?
4.
So you hesitate for 3 seconds.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I popped it in wrong. I thought it would be like a plus.
Same thing with you're 4 seconds, right?
My hesitation is 4 + 3 is 7, so I hesitate for 4 seconds. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think that So how do the two of you respond? What do you do? What's your steal?
I think it's funny because like Reza and I were like dancing or whatever, and I was trying very hard to be like, let's talk about the weather or something. And so I probably like feel the thing, look at the walls warping, like a bunch of shit is going down. And I think that this is the one time where I actually like cling to Reza, like, help me. This is scary. So this would be like a stand and drool, but like I'm like holding on to him, like actually like I was like trying to get as far out of his arms as I could, like while we were dancing, and all this shit goes down, and I'm just like, no, wait, like I'm scared, and yeah, hold on to the closest thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You feel then you like shut your eyes and like press yourself to him, burned into your vision. Like you can see, like, you know, when you someone shines a flashlight in your eyes in the dark, or like there's a flash from a camera. You see the burning wheel. You see the ring of flame when you close your eyes. Like you can't escape that vision. And yeah, you feel on you both Reza's actual arms around you, and then like another pair of arms holding you as well. So it's like Reza has 4 arms, and he's holding you close to him with all 4 of them. And and so there's like screaming and like there's a horrible thing happening. Miro, what are you doing?
It's run, screaming, stand and draw, or beg for mercy.
Yes.
You could be begging God.
You could be begging God for exactly.
You could also swoon. It's run, screaming, stand and draw, swoon, or fall prone. Yeah.
Stand and draw, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, his first instinct is to see what's happening. He takes a little bit longer, I think, to emotionally react. So he draws for these 4 seconds.
Okay.
He has to process it a bit. He's got that lag, that input lag.
Okay. Yeah, of course. So yeah, who has the least? Joy hesitates the longest.
Yeah. I think Miro and I are tied, but Miro can definitely react first.
I have 3.
You have 3, then you go.
All right. So Miro, 3 heartbeats pass. What do you do? And I think we get the slow motion look around, right? And like everything we linger on is very sort of horrific. There is a noble who's like lying on his back on a table, and he's like basically like having fits and speaking in tongues. And there's like someone trying to hold him down. There's the woman who's just like gone into labor and like is giving birth. There's the merchant. I think you see one noble who has pinned another down. It's just like stabbing him in the neck with a knife. There's no obviously like people aren't like bursting out and demons are coming out of them, but it's making all of the nobles act crazy, and they're all reacting differently based on what's happening. But they've all basically gone mad.
Yeah, I'm going to cast a spell.
Okay.
I'm just choosing which it should be, whether it's better to pray or to
well, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, what would be, because I think for Miro, because you're a zealot, right? Is prayer the first thing you turn to?
I mean, we asked these questions at the beginning of the game to set his faith exponent, right?
Yeah, I pray for a blessing to my own steel.
Okay.
I think is like the thematic thing that he does.
Okay. So the first thing you do is pray for God to give you strength to resist this horrible whatever it is?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So a blessing is up 3. Grants plus 1d to a stat, skill, health, or steel for the duration of an intent.
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Basically. I guess it's a steal. Even though I've already kind of done the test.
Just so everybody's aware, this was not my intention when I.
Yeah, well,
I think you're in the Miro seat this game, Elf. You did a thing.
To the Miro zone.
You may have succeeded.
I didn't mean to let the demons loose.
Right. I pray for blessing on Suasion because actually his first thought, and it's much easier for him to delineate to other people's emotional states to prioritize them over himself because he's very confused. It's for Suasion because he wants to calm everyone down.
Okay, I mean that would be oratory if you want to get everyone in the room to calm their shit.
Okay, yep, I'll pick oratory then.
Okay.
So I'll pray for blessing.
I love it. Yes, you pray to God to bolster your voice, right? Give me the words to get everyone's attention and calm them. I like that.
Yep, and you can't fork into faith, so we'll just.
So what's the ob on this particular miracle?
3.
Okay, and what's your faith?
4.
Awesome.
I do not succeed.
So what's a failed faith test do? Is this one of those you failed at magic and things get worse situation?
Let me just real quick find the right page for it. Perfect.
You can spend a fate to reroll one of your traders, but that's about.
Yeah, let's do that.
Faith. Yeah,
might as well. A point of.
Yeah, because you could get a 6.
Sure could. Sorry. G6.
Okay, so not so much.
Downwards because of his faith.
Does it? Is that how that works?
So I get a 0.
It just gets worse. Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a failure. Okay, so when you fail at faith,
see what the failure state is on faith.
Yeah, faith is a really small section, so it's harder to dig up. Here we go. Prayer.
Within prayer.
Prayer effects.
There is no text, no prayer failure chart.
Failed in prayer. Here we go. Faith tests are more often failed. Generally, the end result should be the pleas of the faithful go unheard by the distant gods. However, the GM is welcome to intercede during a failed faith test. You've sent forth a powerful call, and perhaps another entity has heard and responded. Perhaps you've actually angered the deaths. This is easy.
I think we all know what's happened here, more or less.
So here's what we see, right? We see a close-up in profile wide shot, like widescreen shot of Miro's face. Miro's face is taking up, like it's probably from like the bridge of your nose to like just under your chin, in profile of you like whispering a prayer, right? So you're praying, and into frame from the other side we see a white lace veil like move into frame, and two delicate hands, also like gloved in white, lift the veil just up to the same level, right? So we can see a pale, like almost fake looking, like ceramic looking, like skin, beautiful face of a woman, and your prayers are interrupted by the feeling of these icy ceramic lips on yours. And we see for a moment, we cut back to Miro, and we see this huge, like the angel of winter dressed in these white diaphanous veils, holding Miro by the face, pressing her like lips to yours. But no one else seems to see it. Like she's enormous, right? Like Dark Souls boss level big. And so she's like hunched over holding you, right. and kisses you. And then we hear her whisper to you, quietly, and you're the only one that can hear. You hear, "Do not fear, little one. Father cannot hear you, but I have come." And then like that, everyone in the room except you needs to make a test or get turned to ice, I guess. So like who's here?
Tabitha's here.
Alessandra, Reza, and Gavril's ghost are protected because he's a sanctified ghost and he's extended his protection to you.
Thank you, Gavril.
Yeah, you're inside the ghost's like field of supernatural power.
So Tabitha is there. I think Soren is strictly not there.
Yes, Soren bailed. So Tabitha, the captain
is there.
Tragic.
I don't care about anybody else who hasn't been like circled or.
Would the lady treasurer be there?
No, I don't think so.
Enemy musicians.
Okay, very important.
So the musicians.
Who else have I rolled into being that might be here?
The matchmaker.
Is Serica here?
No, Serica is a guest of... You haven't seen Serica in a while. She's a guest of the Magus.
Oh, God. Why are you doing this to all of my characters?
Well, she was the only other one there, so...
Yeah, no, of course she is. So Astrid is there. Is Octavian, the Master of Records, here? He likes parties. He's a big party guy.
Yeah, sure.
The banker...
No, so she's not. Yeah, she would have made an appearance. Remember, it's quite late in the party.
And Sylvain is not arrived yet.
Right, Sylvain is not here yet. We need a scene to introduce him, and until then, he's not here. And then a bunch of miscellaneous people. But Miro, you're protected.
Because the Angel of Winter loves you.
Yes. Okay.
Like literally, romantically loves you, and wants to take you away. Feelings at you.
This was her being like, "Don't worry, little one. I'm here to protect you." By turning the castle to ice.
Icing motherfuckers.
Yeah. Easy peasy.
Wow, this went...
So everybody who's not Tabitha, the captain, the musicians, or Octavian dies instantly. Just frozen to death.
That's a lot of nobles.
Yes. Yeah.
God damn it, Miro. They gave you money and you do this to them.
Everyone else in the castle, like every other NPC in the castle that doesn't have any kind of supernatural protection or is important. I think all the important NPCs, all the circles and relationships, they survive. But more or less everyone else in the castle also frozen instantly. The castle basically becomes a big like frozen, like the castle freezes, right? It's got all the like hanging icicles and it's a glacier essentially.
That's just a cascading bad time.
Yeah, you just keep making it worse. Now they're not necessarily dead. It's just they're locked in like personal magical eternal ice. Winter. Yeah, they're cryo frozen. So let me make a... You know what? Fucking, I'm going to die of fate on all of the NPCs because I don't think there's even a roll to be made here.
No.
So
4?
1 to 3, nah, it's just magical ice. You can de-ice them with magic, but 1 to 3... Basically, what the intent of the angel here, the miracle is, I must recontain the problem, and the only way Winter knows to contain things is in the infinite stasis of ice. Yeah. So that you can like come back. You could walk around in the castle, and everyone is like frozen. Like the guy.
It's like Sleeping Beauty. Except for instead of being asleep, everyone's frozen.
So like there's a thing. There'll be a moment where like the dude who is freaking out and stabbing the other guy is like in mid swing, and there's ice, like blood trailing from the knife into the air. Right?
Awesome.
Like terrifying. This like ice frozen castle.
This is like it's like that the one level in
okay, so
Zelda.
Let's see. Tabitha. So 1 to 3 frozen. 4, 5, and 6 not frozen. Tabitha is not frozen.
King.
No, the king's fine. This was just everyone in the room I'm rolling for. All the other important characters, they get plot protection. The captain, 1, 2, 3 frozen. Not frozen.
Weird.
The musicians mostly freeze, but one of them, the lead musician who's currently like picking maggots out of his teeth,
Ew.
frozen.
Good.
And then Octavian, not frozen. Okay, so most of these characters get away. They will flee the castle and go somewhere else. There will be a period of like adjusting, of like where do they go, what do they do they leave the kingdom, do they go somewhere else, etc. But for now,
I like how we basically just took that whole situation and went, we've been in the castle this whole game. Get the fuck out.
Yeah. So yeah, Miro, the angel, she disappears, if she was ever there at all, and suddenly you're standing in this room with a bunch of frozen statuary. You see somebody like maybe someone who got like half frozen, scream, and he pulls away and like rips his arm like off at the elbow. So his like arm is frozen to the table. He's like grabbing his arm and falls down, and like there's mutterings and stuff of like half finished chaos, but it's much quieter now than it was before. Miro, what do you do? Like it's suddenly like calm. There's some sobbing.
It's okay, everyone. It's going to be all right. Everyone is going to be fine. Have some soothing platitudes. That's amazing.
That's good. So soothing platitudes works on one person. Who do you soothe?
Who's like the guy who just ripped his own arm off?
Yeah. Okay. All right. So there's a guy nearby. Yeah. Who's like holding his arm and he's like squirting blood on the floor because he's just broken. He's shattered his frozen arm, and he looks up at you. And maybe this is a guy you remember that like gave you money before, and he sees you're okay, and he's just like turning pale and screaming, or like muttering to himself in shock. And you just want to calm him down.
Yeah. Soothing platitudes, and just like it's gonna be fine. Don't rip your other arm off. Like this is a good thing somehow.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. What do you think a reasonable up will be? 9?
Yeah. Like don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Your soul will be fine, even if you broke your own arm off.
Remember that soothing platitudes, the ob is the platitude itself.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what we super high.
Let me see. So,
Oh my god.
Soothing platitudes. Jesus, yeah. Oh no, the basic obstacle is his will. So you might just be too stupid to like. I mean, soothing platitudes is telling a dying man like you will have eternal life in the kingdom of heaven, right? Okay. Like,
yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I say ob 3 to just calm him down enough that he dies peacefully.
That sounds good.
What happens if he fails this roll?
If you fail, I mean, the guy dies in terrified agony, and you know that your words were empty and meaningless to him.
That seems fine.
Okay, sure.
No.
So yeah,
I'm trying to tell him stuff, and I'm just like mumbling, and I'm like, look, the eyes are like slightly too wide, like flicking around, not staying focused on him. It's his instinct to say these words, but he's still like looking around. He's not focused on what he's doing. He's just saying things that he said a million times by rote, because he's already decided this guy's going to die. So he's like, your soul will be in eternal bliss. and you can finally rest in the kingdom of heaven with God. And just like looking around and like notice somebody else like slowly tips over and shatters on the ground, and he stops. And that's when the guy like freezes up and he looks back and the guy's died and he's like, oh.
Yeah, awesome.
Just like God, you are now dead.
Yeah. You and God will reunite in the afterlife because you're both dead. Okay, so Alessandra, you come to as Miro is doing this.
Yeah. So Alessandra probably like feels the cold, like how the room is suddenly quiet and cold, and she like lifts her head like out from like Reza's shoulder, and she looks around, and there's just like, I feel like there ought to be another steel test, but like we already did that for whatever. And like she looks around at everyone frozen and dead, and then she looks back at Reza, and then she's like,
so I think in the way that this is shot, Alessandra doesn't see this, but we've swapped the actor, so it's like the actor that plays Gavril
is now standing there.
Yeah, and so we see that, and this would be one of those like, oh my god, like moments, and then when you turn to look, it's just Reza, right? Like you don't see it, but we all like get that shock of like the swap.
Yeah, there's the like audience flash sort of thing.
Yeah, and she like I'm assuming that the couple of people like who were like plot shielded, there's a couple of like other random people that also didn't, because it would make no sense for like two people get out. So there's probably just like some randos that also aren't frozen. So it's not like I see specifically these two people. What did they do? You know? But I think she like turns around and sees like this horror, and then she turns back and she's just like, the king. Because like obviously like this entire fucking castle just, I mean, at least this room, but I'm guessing that she's gonna assume like this is a horrific event. The first person she thinks about is the king. Like we have like
cold.
No, that's actually something that people could understand.
So do you push Reza away and you're like the king?
No,
like,
I think she says it, and she looks at him, and there's a part of her that is like, she recognizes, like she felt this protection. She saw like the fiery wheel or whatever, and so she recognizes that. Like, I think that she has, whether it's true or not, like she feels like him being like right there with her, like protected her from the ice with this fire that she saw like on the back of her eyelids.
Right. You're having some severe cosmological misunderstandings right now.
Yeah. But like, I feel like it makes sense for like her to be like, some shit just went down. We have to go make sure that the head honcho is okay. And so turning to Reza and be like, we have to make sure that the king is all right.
Reza, Reza shakes his head, and you can feel his hand on your wrist. And he says, he shakes his head and says, no, we must away, my love, to home, our child. And he turns over his shoulder and kind of like gives you a tug, like, no, we got to get out of here.
But he is the king. And she's just like, the fuck is going on here? Obviously.
I will see to the king. Protect your loved ones. Because there's only like 3 of us still around.
Yeah,
so
I'm assuming that most people are like out.
Yeah, Tabitha has fucked off. She's vanished. Yeah.
He is our king. He's and like she looks to you and she's like, he was appointed by, we have to go like.
So she
wants to make sure that her.
Yes. So you're not doing this because he's the king. You're doing this because you like him.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I mean, the excuse is that it makes sense that she would be like king because he's the king, but she's doing it because like.
Let's see if you can convince him. So I feel like there's 2 things here. Are you making any effort to obfuscate the fact, like your motivation for this?
I don't think that she has the presence of mind to do that. I think that there's a natural obfuscation in that, like, he's the king, so it would make sense.
Do you maybe not say the king and instead say his name, like?
Ooh, yeah.
Like Tomas instead.
I definitely say Tomas. I say the first thing I say is Tomas, and then like a second later I correct it. but I definitely say Tomas first.
Now your shenanigans with the king did not start until after Gavril was dead, right?
Well, because I made the point that like I can't be with you after I'm married, so it makes sense that I wouldn't have been with him when I was married before.
Right. You respect the rights of your own marriage, not anyone else's. Okay. But Reza, man, there's some complicated shit going on here because you're dealing with Reza, who is empowered by Gavril's spirit. Yeah. I don't think Reza is smart enough to have ever gotten suspicious of you and the king and like.
The whole point was to make sure that I distracted him from suspicions.
Okay, so none of that. I don't think any of that matters. He doesn't catch it, but we as the audience all like hear you say Tomas instead. Okay, so you were trying to persuade him that the appropriate thing to do is like go to see the king.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you can make a persuade test.
What is my obstacle and what's my failure condition?
His will is 4. Okay. And if you fail, he will try to physically like be like, no, we are going home.
Okay.
This escalates to him basically like jerking you and be like, no, listen to me, we're going home.
Okay.
Now we know that Gavril and the king
were
friends. They were buds. Yeah, Gavril and Soren and the king all had a kind of like fraternal kind of relationship with each other. Mm-hmm. They were like the characters from Final Fantasy 15, basically, but like less gay, I guess.
I mean, who knows?
But like less gay, I guess. Okay.
Okay, so I don't think that like she's not using any of her like wises. She's just worried. And like, so I don't think that it makes any sense for me to be like, but noble wise.
Sure.
Like, so I'm just going to roll it. You said 4?
Yes. Yeah, he has a 4 will. You got 2, but no 6s.
Yeah, so I get led bodily away, I suppose.
Well, no, he just escalates to physics. So you turn to like go to the king, and then you feel him yank you to him because he's still holding your wrist. And he looks at you sternly and says, no, the king will handle his own. We must away to home.
I think that...
You can slap him in the face.
Well, no, I think that this is the point where she's just like, no, this is fucking terrifying. And I'm going to go to the person that I most want to not be dead. And that's the king. Mm-hmm. That's like, she rips her wrist out of his like grasp. And she says, no, Reza, I am going to see that the king is all right.
Okay. Let's have an opposed power test.
Okay.
And I think if you succeed, you yank yourself free and you're free to run off. Mm-hmm. If you fail, again, he'll escalate, and this will be the part where you get slapped or hit, right?
Lovely, excellent. Great.
So Reza's power.
Can I intercede in some way?
Yeah. If you want to intercede, there's a moment before this roll.
Yeah, I don't know who I'm helping. I just say, I can go to the king. It is my duty. You have a responsibility to your young. I understand this.
I think that's probably helping Reza.
Maybe.
Yeah, because that's what you want, right? You're gonna give him a.
You're like, I'm gonna go to the king. You don't have to. And I'm like, no, this is not for the reasons that you think it is.
Okay. I think if you're just talking, this is just noise. You can't actually help with talking now because this is like a physical contest.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but that's okay. Like you're making your opinion known. So we'll just oppose with power.
Okay, so I have to.
I got a 3.
Can anything fork in?
No, because it's not a skill. You're not brawling him. Or...
Nope.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess he's got his like left hand on your wrist or his right hand on your wrist, and he just slaps you in the face with the back of his other hand, just to like stop you from struggling. And basically, you try to pull away, and there's just like the crack of the back of his hand against your face. You like snap your head.
He's definitely
vision gets blurry.
Yeah.
What do you do? I think he lets go. Like he hits you and then lets go, and you blink. Miro, you see him as soon as he hits her. He puts his other hand to his head, like something, and like mutters to himself and like shakes his head, like hitting her did something to him for a second. I mean, we all know what's happening here, right? Where Gavrila's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And Reza's like, "I can hit her if I want to." And so they have this moment, but Alessandra doesn't see it because her eyes are all blurry with tears.
Yeah, I think that what she does.
Well, I want to give Miro a second.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So Miro, what do you do? Anything?
No, this is a tricky decision for me. Just in.
Well, like culturally, right?
Hang on, let Dave finish.
Okay.
Does the church's teachings, which probably have some horrible bullshit that enforces this kind of behavior, override his sense of like this feels wrong to him?
Yeah. I guess that's the question we can all answer kind of as a group. Like, would the church's perspective be? It's interesting because I think that we want to like lean into giving characters an opportunity to be empathetic to each other, and we want to give them an excuse. But also, I think that like Agatha is built on the idea in a lot of ways that like the church and the structures that it represents are shitty. So I think it's okay for like I could see either way being fine.
I think that one of the things that comes into bearing is that this culture is a violent culture.
That's true.
They are defined as that.
The other complication here is it different for Reza to hit you versus like your husband?
Reza is not my husband.
Right, but like, Gavril is.
Technically does not have a right to like command me.
Sure, but Miro knows that your husband is occupying the body that just hit you.
Yes.
So I think it's way too complicated for there to be a clear answer
but
here. So.
Like when that guy was on the church steps, like your idea of like a proper fitting like consequence for him just like saying something was burned with sorceress fire. So I don't know if
he murdered his family. That was what he got burned with fire.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, sorry, I didn't remember what the cause of that was.
I mean, it could be that Miro doesn't know, right? Like we get the reaction shot of Miro, and maybe I don't know. It's up to you, Dave. Like, does Miro have a clear answer for this, or is this just a like, what an interesting theological conundrum?
Ah, yes, abuse. What an interesting theological conundrum. You are like demented.
Yeah.
There's a chance that you don't have the empathy that it would take to be like.
Can I roll a die of fate and see whether I react emotionally or?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Totally. Okay. 1 to 3 is he reacts emotionally first, and that's probably going to be him like seeing that this is wrong. And 4 to 6, his brain doesn't act as quickly as he wants, and it falls back on his teachings like normally.
Sure.
Yeah, he hesitates for a second, and he says, please get home. Keep yourself safe. I will do this. It is my duty. I know you love your king, but something is terribly wrong. No, I don't say it's terribly wrong because an angel did this. I say, this is an important spiritual moment for the kingdom.
I love it. Okay. So Alessandra, you blink the tears from your eyes. Did he knock you? Like, did you fall, or did you just like stagger back?
No,
okay.
No, I staggered back.
Okay. So what do you do?
I think that like, yeah, like I hold my hand to my face, and my hand is probably like really cold. So it probably like feels like nice to have my hand on my face. And I look back up at him, and like my eyes are fire. Like, this is like, okay, like I wanted to get rid of you. Now I want to get rid of you.
Again.
And she looks at him, and like this is the same, like the only time that she's felt like this like desire to do really bad things was when she arranged for Gavril to be murdered for doing the exact same shit. And so she looks at him and she's like, you are just like your brother. And then she's gonna storm out, and she's gonna go find the fucking king because she does what she wants.
Yeah, and I think that's reasonable. He's shaken by his internal conflict, and you can storm out. No problem.
Yeah. She's and there was also a moment of like, you have to be with the people you love, and like this is Alessandra realizing that like she's been manipulating the shit out of the king to try and like get closer to him, but like that's part of it is also because she likes being close to him, not just from power shit, you know, like there's a reason why she wants to do all this that isn't just like power for power's sake. Like, yeah. So like be with the ones you love. And it's like, fuck it. I'm going to find Tomas. Like that's what I'm doing.
And we'll have that moment next time we get around to you. So I guess I want to see what happens with Joy and the Magus, and then we'll spend a bunch of time outside of all this fucking ice cube castle horseshit.
I was saying like when Agata finds out what happened here, it's just gonna be like, told you so, bitches. Like,
I leave the castle for 4 days and it's a mess. Look at this place. Oh, it's horrible.
So okay, Joy, your panic subsides. As too does the vision, right? And
I mean, I guess my question is, during my panic, what is happening?
So you see the vision, you see the great and terrible vision, right? You look up at him and he's just like burning with the fire of the wheel of the adversary. And when it fades, you see the Magus and you just feel the like writhing, oily, like evil coming off of him.
The malevolence and the fear.
Yeah. And he seems like lost in thought.
I think from her position, like kneeling there, she tries to sort of like she doesn't want him to snap into like consciousness of her presence again, because like you said, he seems kind of lost, right? So she tries to sort of like not drag herself, but like crawl away, basically, like under that sight line of like, okay, if I don't get up, he's not doing anything,
right? So you just want to crawl away
and just try and like pull myself away across the floor.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just wriggle away like a worm. Yeah, I think you can do that. I don't think there needs to be a roll or anything. I think you can escape. And maybe the last thing that we see is like the hallway. I mean, I guess that's the other thing, is the hallway is all like frozen now. There's like ice on the walls and like the windows are all cracked. And we just see the Magus like kind of come to and snarl and walk into his study and slam the door. Ice crystals kind of like falling to the ground behind him. And maybe we take our break there. Jesus. Cool. So
sorry I stabbed that guy.
It's fine. It was a big deal. Let's take our break here, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about, because I think that the effects of both of these things, the unchaining of whatever entities this Magus was keeping in check, and then the subsequent ice palacing situation, will be felt and heard elsewhere. So we'll take a break and we'll find out what elsewhere looks like when we get back. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.